March 31st, 1995. A routine flight for TAROM Airlines. An Airbus A310 with 60 people on board takes off from Bucharest's runway 08 right. Everything seems normal at first, but just over a minute into the flight, things take a terrifying turn. The aircraft begins to bank sharply to the left. The nose starts to dip, and in mere seconds, the plane is in a near vertical nosedive. What could have caused such a drastic change? Was it a mechanical failure, or did something happen to the pilot? How did an unexpected problem lead to the deadliest aviation disaster in Romanian history? Join us as we delve into the final report and unravel the mystery behind the tragic events of TAROM Flight 371. Bucharest International Airport. An Airbus A310 is being prepared for an international passenger flight to Brussels, Belgium. The flight is operated by TAROM, the flag carrier of Romania. The aircraft is 8 years old. It was initially bought by Pan American, then by Delta, and now by TAROM Airlines. TAROM Flight 371 was scheduled to fly from Bucharest to Brussels with 11 crew members and 49 passengers on board. This A310 has a history of issues with the auto throttle system, ATS, which adjusts the throttle settings to maintain a certain airspeed or power setting as set by the pilot. Occasionally, during the initial climb phase after takeoff, when the ATS should move the throttle levers back to climb power, the number 1 thrust lever, controlling the left engine, would reduce to idle while the number 2 thrust lever stayed at takeoff thrust. This failure occurred several times when the aircraft was owned by both Delta and TAROM, but maintenance could not replicate it. From 1987 to 1992, Airbus sent several service information letters alerting airlines to the issue and recommending preventive measures, but a permanent fix was not known at that time. A service information letter, SIL, is a document sent by aircraft manufacturers to airlines. It provides information about specific technical issues or potential problems with the aircraft. The SIL usually includes recommendations on how to address or prevent these issues to ensure safe and efficient operation. TAROM Airlines issued a briefing card to its crews to ensure they guard the thrust levers during the departure phase in case they move back. The weather is not very good. It is overcast with low clouds and light snow.
Keep both hands on the control. I guard the engine's throttles. Positive climb.
The captain contacts the departure controller and requests clearance to proceed direct to the STJ VOR. The departure controller tells the aircraft to turn left early towards the STJ VOR, which means they need to enter and configure this turn in the Flight Management System, FMS.
Select direct STJ on FMS.
While the captain is working on the FMS, the number 1 thrust lever, connected to the left engine, is slowly moving back towards idle. Neither the captain nor the co-pilot are aware of this. The number 1 thrust lever continues to decrease thrust on the left engine, while the number 2 engine remains stuck at takeoff thrust.
Speed.
250 knots inside, flaps up.
Flaps up.
Retract the slats. Retract the slats. Are you all right?
The aircraft is crossing 4,530 feet in altitude at a speed of 179 knots, with an increasing bank angle of 28 degrees. The co-pilot, Stoi, engages the autopilot and tries to wake pilot Batanoiu. Stoi does not notice the engine thrust asymmetry, which has reached its maximum value of 0.42 for EPRs. The aircraft is now banking severely to the left at an angle of 45 degrees.
That one has failed!
The Airbus A310 crashed into the ground at 324 knots with a nose-down pitch angle of approximately 50 degrees and both engines at idle. All 49 passengers and 11 crew members died instantly. The crash site was near Bucharest Airport in an unpopulated area. This remains Romania's worst air disaster and TAROM's deadliest crash. The air crash investigators arrived at the scene and found that parts of the aircraft were buried as deep as 5 meters into the ground. It was not possible to perform a post-mortem on the captain due to the severity of the injuries, so we will never know why he was incapacitated. The final report concluded that the following causal factors were the reason for the crash: thrust asymmetry, possible pilot incapacitation, the captain, insufficient corrective action from the co-pilot to counteract the consequences of the first factors. Although the first officer had 8,188 flight hours, only 650 of those were on Western-built aircraft. The remaining hours were on Soviet-built aircraft. A key difference between these aircraft is the design of the artificial horizon, an essential cockpit instrument. In Western aircraft, the horizon moves while the aircraft symbol stays fixed. In Soviet aircraft, the horizon stays fixed and the aircraft symbol moves. This difference can cause confusion in high-stress situations. If the first officer, accustomed to Soviet instruments, misinterpreted the artificial horizon in the Western-built aircraft, he might have made incorrect or insufficient control inputs, leading to the crash. Such misinterpretations can be fatal, especially at low altitudes. The captain likely left the throttles unattended while operating the flight management system to turn left early towards the STJ VOR. He then experienced a medical problem that caused him to lose consciousness. But why was the first officer unable to correct the increasing bank angle of the aircraft? Perhaps he was under high stress due to the captain's medical emergency and was also confused by the artificial horizon. The Ground Proximity Warning System, GPWS, is designed to alert pilots if their aircraft is in immediate danger of flying into the ground. However, in this situation, the aircraft was in such a steep bank that the system's sensors, located on the aircraft's underside, were not oriented towards the ground. Therefore, the system did not detect the proximity to the terrain and did not sound the alarm. The final report included safety recommendations directed at Airbus Industries, calling for a service bulletin or airworthiness directive to address the causes of thrust asymmetry. In response, Airbus issued service bulletins to mitigate this malfunction caused by friction between the couplings and thrust levers on affected aircraft.